Hello. Well, the theme for your week is the city of Chicago. And I lived there in the early 1980s and went to part of my college career there at DePaul University. And so I know a thing or two. I haven't been there for a long time, so I'm sure it has changed a lot. But I can, I can remember very clearly having really a lot of fun along the lakefront, going to blues and jazz clubs, and they had a wonderful music scene at the time. And going up to the top of the John Hancock building, which at the time was the tallest building in Chicago. It's now been, in subsequent years, it was replaced by the Sears Tower. And I remember I had a temporary job that was in one of the upper floors of the Sears Tower, and you had to take lots and lots of different elevators to get up there, and you could feel the building swaying in the wind. I was glad it was just a temporary job. I was only there for a week as a substitute. So anyway, when I think of Chicago, I have a lot of different memories about the music and the food and the beach. Sorry, I had to take care of something in the background there. But, it's called the Windy City for a reason. And you can get really uncomfortable there with all the wind. I remember on Michigan Avenue, they would put up, on very windy days, they would put up ropes on the sidewalk so that you could hold on to them. So anyway, winters were, a little challenging there. So what I thought we would do is do kind of a fun little cartoonish kind of thing about the Windy City. And most of the times when you see the skyline with all the skyscrapers in a city, the artist tries to make them look as straight and as realistic as they are. But we're going to do a little different take on it since we are drawing Chicago. Now, I've kept the shapes of the buildings very simple for you. And the first thing that you want to do is, and I'll draw, is to have your paper landscape. And you want to draw a line straight across your paper. And that's where we're going to sit all of the buildings. Okay? So we are going to draw the John Hancock building first, and there are a lot of windows on the side of the exterior of the Hancock building, but it also has kind of an interesting grid design on the outside of it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to draw all of our buildings. They're going to be tall, skinny rectangles, right? But we're going to have them bending over in the Chicago wind. Okay? Now, the Hancock building has a couple of towers on it that are notable, so we'll put that on there. And then we're going to do big X's. Now, like I said, this is a little bit of a cartoon kind of drawing, so we do not have to have anything realistic. Okay. So that's the John Hancock building. Now, the Sears Tower is taller, So we are going to put it over here, and they're not located too awfully far away from each other. And so we're going to make this one equally bent over in the wind, but taller. And it too has a bunch of towers and stuff on the top. That's where we get the cable and satellite signals and that kind of thing. Okay, so, and the Sears Tower doesn't really look all that great on the outside. It's just tall. Anyway, so then we're going to just put some random shorter buildings, and we want them to be much shorter because we want these two gems of the skyline, excuse me, to be looking very, very big. Now, we'll pretend like this over here is the lakefront, and there is a complex of high-rise, well, they used to be apartments, but now I guess they would be considered condos that are just side by side. I used to date a fellow when I was in college whose father lived in one of these. And we want them to look round because they are round. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the buildings, but they have beautiful views of the lakefront. Lakeshore Drive. They're located on Lakeshore Drive. So we'll make these lines curved to make it look round. So they're cylinders. And then we're just going to add some medium-sized, sort of nondescript buildings here to make it look like it is a city. And then we'll give them some different shapes over here. And, oops, some different shapes over here. And I'll have this one be behind. There must be something on the other side of my paper because I'm hitting something there. Okay, so we can, make windows in here. So mostly we have office buildings, some residential buildings in this area. So we'll just make some simple this one look like it's brick. So it's kind of looking like it's a city, I think. I think I'll just put lines on here. So I don't have to do windows. It's kind of the suggestion of windows. There we go. Some more brick. Chicago has a lot of brick buildings. We'll make some other apartment buildings have balconies, so we'll put some balconies on this one. Okay, so we've got our city all together. If you want, you can write down at the bottom the Windy City. Put some the Windy City. Okay. So you can get out your paper toweling and your brushes and your watercolors, and we can paint our buildings. Now, a lot of them are just gray, but you can make it, you know, you could use some light brown on the brick buildings, kind of a reddish brown. And you don't have to, we're, again, it's kind of a cartoon style, so it doesn't need to be perfect on your painting. Now I'm going to try to, that's kind of a brown, and that's the black. So I think your paint sets have a gray. Unfortunately, mine does not. So I'm going to try to mix some white to get a gray. Oh, that worked. So what I did is I had black, add a little bit of white to it. Remember that St. Patrick's Day was crazy in Chicago. They would dye the river, the Chicago River that goes right through downtown, green. There are a lot of people whose ancestors immigrated from Ireland in Chicago, and so they really did a great job of having a parade and green beer and the Green River. It was a lot of fun to be there. There we go. So usually I don't have you paint with the browns and the blacks, and whoops. I guess I put it in the wrong one. Oh yes, I put it in the one next to what I wanted. I guess that's what happens when I'm trying to talk. That's okay, I'll blend it in and we'll make the Sears Tower a completely different color. But cities are mostly, you know, the buildings are gray and brown and all that kind of good stuff. I was 19 when I moved to Chicago, fresh from a small town. So I had a lot to learn. And then to kind of balance it out, I think I'm going to do these last ones in gray again. Because I got gray over here and no gray over here. That's what I was talking about, balancing out. Okay, now I'll clean out your brushes. And we're going to pick a light blue. We're going to make some wind. And the wind here. And so we're going to do some swirls in a light blue to give it that windy feeling. And then we can take a different color of blue and paint down below like it's on the lakefront, because it is. Just make that, oof, that was terrible. All right, let me try this again. I didn't have a good brush full of water. There we go, that's better. And yes, I talk to myself when I paint. Brush hair right there. And there we go. Windy City. I think I might do one more swirl right here. All right, enjoy your visit to Windy City, the Windy City this week. Take care.